Well, Steve Arts 89. Well, the reviews and the box office numbers appear to be in for Transformers Rise of the Beasts. The views are lukewarm, but the numbers are surprising. Apparently, it did around 170 to 175 million international for the box office for the weekend, which is higher than was expected. People were estimating 140, 150, 155 million, and it may between 170, 175. So it's 15, 20, 25 million more than was expected. So that's surprising and good. The word of mouth is good in that initially the expectations were low, and we've had some sort of moderate word of mouth, which is comparatively good to the low expectations, because everyone hated the last two Transformers proper movies. Bumblebee everyone loved, but Bumblebee didn't make money because no one went to see it, partly because they hated 4 and 5 so much, but also because frankly they buried it like a kid's film. I mean, I tried to find it on opening weekend. It was so hard. I had to watch it during the day, I think. It was like kiddie times, and they just weren't giving it the proper treatment you would get a blockbuster. So that's why it didn't have blockbuster numbers, not because people weren't going to see it if it had been released properly, but really was treated like a kid's film, which limited it. And I think kind of Michael Bay did that on purpose. I think he kind of sabotaged it because he didn't want it to outshine, because he thought it could outshine his film, but was never really going to do that, considering that it sort of was carrying along the stink of his last two stinkers. So yeah, but I'm a bit confused because when I actually looked at Box Office Mojo, it only had $79 million for the box office weekend for Transformers, but I don't think they had all the international numbers in yet. Like China apparently made 40 million there. I didn't see China. There was a very small list of international, so I'm guessing they just haven't got all their numbers in yet. So that's good. Now, like I said, the reviews are kind of mixed. People were not expecting much, and a lot of people were saying the same thing. Loved the first film. Sequels got progressively worse. Last two were awful. Bumblebee was great, but didn't do well because the last two films, a lot of people didn't go to see it, but then they sort of discovered it, and then everyone got excited for the idea of a Bumblebee sequel, but instead of doing a Bumblebee sequel, they sort of had three possible films: Bumblebee sequel, Beast Wars film, or like a big epic Unicron Michael Bay film. And they kind of put them all together. It's like they couldn't decide and gave up on the idea of having much more success with Transformers, instead of keeping those ideas for separate films and like another sort of trilogy, I guess, or at least 3 more films. They just threw them all into one. Like, just throw it at the wall, see what sticks. And the positive reviews were that a lot of people saw the Beast from the Beast Wars and cringed and vomited like I did, and didn't have any, it didn't encourage them. And a lot of people said, no, it is actually good. It's almost as good as the first film, almost as good as Bumblebee, in that sort of league, in that style, and the Beasts are a small part of it. It's mostly about Optimus and Mirage and, the humans and being on Earth. It's not just a CGI fest of Beast Wars and Unicron, basically, which is what people were afraid of. So that sort of good word sort of started to slip out, and the numbers, I don't know if they came up, but they certainly were more than expected, so that's good. Now, so far as the other box office titans at the moment, Spider-Verse did 225 and 87, so 313 altogether. That's not in the weekend, I mean, that's overall. I think it did 55, so it was not that far behind Transformers domestically, because Transformers domestically, like I said, made 60.5 million domestically. And like I said, Box Office Mojo only had another 18 or so million international, so they couldn't have had all the international numbers in. But Spider-Verse dropped about 55%, made about 55 million, and fortunately Transformers betted out, but not by much. But people are going on and on about Spider-Verse like it's going to be $1 billion epic, and I'm looking at the numbers, I'm like 313. I don't think it's going to get to $1 billion. I think just because it did so much better than the first film, everyone got really excited, and I think we've had all the people who watched the film, didn't see the film in the cinema and then watched it online, streaming, have all come out to see it now, and I think it's going to drop pretty quick. It's not going to get anywhere near $1 billion, I don't think. I'd be surprised if it did. Little Mermaid, they were hoping for $1 billion, talking around that number for a bit. It's done 228 domestic, 185 international, and so that's 414 like all up worldwide. So it's not. It's people are saying it probably will. It'll be lucky to hit 500 million, which is disappointing. But it's what we've been hearing for a while. So yep, those are the numbers. Those are the sort of reviews of Transformers. I'm hearing pretty much the same thing from everyone, that it is good. It is almost as good as the first film, Bumblebee, which is sort of the two good ones out of the whole lot. And although it does veer away from Bumblebee and it isn't just a sequel to Bumblebee, it does spend more of its time sort of being more of a Bumblebee sequel than a Beast Wars film. A lot of people who love the Beast Wars are complaining that they don't get enough time. I'm like, they shouldn't even be in the film. But yeah, I'm going to go. Feel free to share, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think. I'm kind of relieved. I didn't want it to fail. I wanted it to be good and to do well, but I just don't want Beast Wars to have anything to do with Transformers, because it really shouldn't.